The affair brought down multiple political careers, including Profumo and the Prime Minister. The scandalous relationship and John Profumo's very public lie about it ended Profumo's political career. In June of 1963, he came clean to Prime Minister Harold Macmillan and resigned as War Minister. Prime Minister was also criticized for his role in the Profumo affair. Macmillan was described as out of touch and incompetent, and only a few months later, in October, he resigned under pressure from his own party. Profumo denied everything in front of the House of Commons. During Johnny Edgecombe's trial for shooting a gun at Christine Keeler's apartment door, rumors flew that John Profumo had an affair with Keeler that may have put Britain's security at risk. Newspapers hinted at the connection between the two, but refrained from publishing the rumors, as politicians' private lives were considered beyond the pale of media speculation at the time. However, the situation forced Profumo to make a public statement in front of the House of Commons. Profumo admitted a friendship with Keeler, and he said he had met Yevgeny Ivanov 2 times. But that wasn't the end of his lies. There was no impropriety whatsoever in my acquaintanceship with Miss Keeler, Profumo stated on March 22, 1963. I shall not hesitate to issue writs for libel and slander if scandalous allegations are made or repeated outside the House. On June 5, 1963, Profumo admitted that he had lied. The affair was a problem because Keeler was also sleeping with a Soviet intelligence officer. An extramarital affair between a teenage showgirl and a member of parliament, who was also a cabinet minister, would have been scandalous enough, but the Profumo affair had the added layer of potentially compromised national security. At the same time Christine Keeler was sleeping with John Profumo, she was also having relations with Yevgeny Ivanov. He was a Soviet embassy naval attaché with a background in intelligence. During the affair, Profumo actually befriended Ivanov, and according to a 2015 book by Cambridge historian Professor Jonathan Haslam, Ivanov used the friendship to steal top-secret documents. The stolen intelligence included plans for an experimental U.S. spy plane. When the Profumo affair broke in 1963, the Soviets recalled Ivanov to cover their tracks. The Profumo affair was only exposed because a Scorned lover fired shots at Keeler's door. The affair between John Profumo and Christine Keeler was over by the end of 1961, and it might have never become public had it not been for another of Keeler's lovers flying into a jealous rage. In December of 1962, Johnny Edgecombe, a jazz promoter and hustler, banged on the door of the flat where Keeler was staying with her friend Stephen Ward. When he wasn't allowed in and ramming wouldn't work, Edgecombe fired a gun at the door. Edgecombe was arrested and put on trial. During the court proceedings, details about the affair between Keeler and Profumo began to emerge because police questioned Keeler about the shooting. She told them about her many lovers, including Profumo and Yevgeny Ivanov, the Soviet officer. After these admissions, rumors began swirling around Parliament. Stephen Ward committed suicide during his trial for pimping Keeler. Christine Keeler had known osteopath and socialite Stephen Ward, the man that she was visiting the day she met John Profumo, for years. She was staying at his London flat when one of her ex-lovers, Johnny Edgecombe, fired shots at the door, and she was staying at Ward's rented cottage in Cliveden Picture when she met Profumo at the pool party. After Profumo publicly denied his relationship with Keeler in 1963, investigators began to suspect Ward of being a pimp. He was put on trial in the summer of 1963 and convicted on 2 counts of living off immoral earnings. Before the verdict, Ward overdosed on sleeping pills. He never recovered and died 3 days later. His suicide note read, "I'm sorry to disappoint the vulture. I feel the day is lost. The ritual sacrifice is demanded, and I cannot face it." John Profumo was considered a handsome and coming politician with high aspirations. In 1961, when he met Christine Keeler, John Profumo was at the top of his professional career. He was handsome, married to actress Valerie Hobson, and a close friend of Queen Elizabeth II. He served in the British Army during World War II, including landing in Normandy on D-Day. He was first elected as a Conservative Member of Parliament in 1940, the youngest person serving in the House of Commons at the time. And after the war, he quickly rose through the ranks of government, ascending to Secretary of State for War in 1960. His future looked bright, and Profumo was considered a good candidate for promotion. Keeler was frolicking naked by a pool when she met Profumo. On the July 1961 day that John Profumo and Christine Keeler met, both were at a pool party at Cliveden House. Keeler was skinny dipping. As Keeler wrote later, she was swimming nude with Profumo watching approvingly. Eventually, Keeler put on a towel, and the two began to talk. She didn't know that Profumo was the Secretary of State for War. She was impressed when he mentioned his wife, the film star Valerie Hobson. Keeler decided to have a bit of fun with Profumo. He knew the technique, what to say and when to brush his hand on your arm or accidentally touch your breast, Keeler later wrote. Profumo was a man with a wandering eye and hands to match. But Keeler was also having an affair with another man that was at the same pool party, Yevgeny Ivanov, a Russian intelligence officer. Christine Keeler was a showgirl who admitted to having sex for money out of desperation. Christine Keeler was 19 years old when she met John Profumo. She was an aspiring model and topless showgirl who worked at Murray's Cabaret Club in Soho, London. She also took money from the men she dated. Keeler once admitted, "It's true that I have had sex for money, but only out of desperation, and that is still something that I hate to have to admit even to myself." Ironically, it has been sex for love or lust rather than for money that has always caused me more problems. Keeler came from difficult circumstances, having grown up in poverty with a single mother. Moreover, as she reported in her autobiography, she was also sexually abused as a child by several male adults in her life, including her mother's live-in boyfriend. In the end, Keeler was scapegoated by many for the entire Profumo affair. Few at the time placed her situation and her choices in the context of her larger life. She was merely the siren who wrecked a good man's life.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.